America's middle class in 2024. Aging vehicles, $300 carts of groceries, and mountains of credit card debt, Michael Snyder reports. Have things been getting better for the middle class, or have they been getting worse? Needless to say, the answer to that question is obvious. The cost of living is absolutely crushing us. We can't afford to replace our rapidly aging vehicles. Debt levels are exploding, and the proportion of the country that's living paycheck to paycheck has been steadily rising. Our economy is a mess, and America's middle class is getting smaller and smaller. Sometimes I feel like I'm watching a very tragic version of musical chairs. If you're still holding on to your chair, you should be very thankful, because more people are slipping out of the middle class and into poverty with each passing day. If you're old enough, you can still remember a time when many middle-class families would purchase a new vehicle every few years. Sadly, today most of us are being forced to get as much mileage out of our rapidly aging vehicles as we possibly can. As a result, the average age of the passenger vehicle traveling America's roads has reached an all-time record high. This should be the best of times for the people who help keep America's cars running. There have never been as many on the road, around 290 million light vehicles, and they have never been so old. One reason for this is good news. They're better made. Getting the odometer past 100,000 miles has gone from being noteworthy to normal. 30 years ago, the average passenger car was about 8.4 years old. Today, it's 13.6 years old. Even keeping our aging vehicles repaired has become exceedingly difficult. These days, if the mechanic hands you a repair bill for less than $1,000, this is a reason to celebrate. In the old days, you could get a really nice used vehicle for $1,000. Of course, groceries have become insanely expensive as well. Earlier today, I came across a US Today article that discussed the fact that the average household in Miami spends $327 at the grocery store per trip. Many longtime Miamians say they've felt this way since the pandemic transformed much of their city. As New Yorkers and Californians faced lockdown orders and restrictions, many flocked to Florida, with the latest increase of New Yorkers moving to Miami, where they could benefit from tax and mandate breaks while working remotely. But along with it having the largest net population gain of any state in the country, came exploding living and housing costs. Housing prices have risen almost 50%, according to the UBS Global Real Estate Bubble Index, released last month. Grocery prices shot up. An average household spent about $327 per trip. So did electric bills. A carton of eggs last year cost $5. $327 used to be a lot of money, and that will just buy you one cart of food. I warned my readers that the economic conditions that we're witnessing in Venezuela could eventually come here, and now it's happening. It's happened. As I discussed a few days ago, core consumer prices have actually risen for 53 months in a row. Our cost of living crisis is out of control, and there is no end in sight. As they struggle to pay their bills, many Americans are turning to credit cards for some relief, and as a result, credit card debt balances have soared to record high levels. The average American household credit card balance as of the third quarter of 2024 was about $10,757 after adjusting for inflation, according to a new study. The personal finance website WalletHub on Friday released its new credit card debt study, which found that consumers added $21 billion in debt during the third quarter of 2024. Early results for the fourth quarter of the year show preliminary data for October at a new record high for credit card debt in the month in absolute terms. As credit card debt level rose, it was inevitable that most Americans would start getting behind on their payments, and that is precisely what has happened. Are you feeling financially stressed as 2024 comes to a close? You're not alone. Not even close. In fact, 7.8 million Americans have delayed payments on at least one of their credit accounts this year. That's 1 million more than in 2023. This is really bad news for the economy as a whole, because our economy is highly dependent on consumer spending. You can't get blood from a stone, and restaurants all over the country are learning the hard way that most consumers simply cannot afford to eat out as regularly as they once did. Seafood giant Red Lobster, Italian chain Boca di Beppo, fish taco eatery Rubio's Coastal Grill, and now the owner of burger and pizza chains BurgerFi and Anthony's Coal Fried Pizza are among those that have sought to reorganize through bankruptcy this year. Hooters of Ameirca is also huddling with lenders and advisors amid revenue declines, Bloomberg reported. Shares of Dine Brands Global Inc., the parent of Applebee's and IHOP, are down about 30% year to date, while shares of Bloomin' Brands Inc., which owns Outback Steakhouse, dropped to near 2020 lows last month after it reported decline on U.S. same-store sales. Yes, a restaurant apocalypse has begun. When I first started using the term, a lot of people thought that I was exaggerating. But of course I was not exaggerating one bit. There was a time when it seemed like just about anyone in this nation could achieve the American dream if they worked hard enough. But now we've reached a point where only 31% of Americans believe that they have made it in life. Despite being the land of opportunity, the American dream remains frustratingly out of reach for most Americans, with a mere 31% believing they financially made it in life. Sadly, that figure is even lower for baby boomers. However, the picture becomes less optimistic. With age, only 27% of baby boomers feel they've reached financial success, and among those who have not, just 1/3 believe they ever will. The survey found that Americans consider their path to financial success threatened by various external factors, including presidential elections, 46%, interest rate changes, 45%, and job market, 42%. After working so hard for so many years, only 27% of baby boomers feel like they have made it in life. Well, that's quite depressing. Things could have turned out far differently. Many of us ranted and raved for years that things would turn out this way, but most of the country did not want to listen. Bad decisions led to bad results. Our leaders have been making comically bad decisions for decades, and thanks to them, we now have a complete and utter nightmare on our hands. This is by Michael Snyder on the Economic Collapse blog. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. About the author, Michael Snyder's new book, Why, is available on paperback and for Kindle on Amazon. He's also written 8 other books available on Amazon, including Chaos, End Times, 7-Year Apocalypse, Lost Prophecy of the Future of America, The Beginning of the End, and Living a Life That Really Matters. When you purchase any of Michael's books, you help to support the work that he's doing. You can also get his articles by email as soon as he publishes them by subscribing to his Substack newsletter. Michael has published thousands of articles on the Economic Collapse blog, End of the American Dream, and the Most Important News, and he always freely, happily allows others to republish those articles on their own websites. These are such troubled times and people need hope. John 3:16 tells us about the hope that God has given us through Jesus Christ. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. If you have not already done so, we strongly urge you to invite Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior today. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. Please support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.